Michael Bettine here for another edition of It's Cup of Time. Thanks for joining in. And if you are liking all the videos I do, please hit the like button down below and also hit the subscribe button. I appreciate that very much. So today I'd like to talk about something I think is really important in a lot of different ways. And that's nobody cares about what gear you use. And the first thing I'm going to say is that's so true. The only people who actually care about what you use are, in this case, fellow gong players or bowl players. The general public, they know nothing about the instruments. They don't care. What they care about is the sound that they're hearing, the sound that they're getting. And it's easy to get caught up in the gear. I mean, I should know. I have tons of gear. I have all kinds of stuff. And I love it. I love the gear. I love all the gongs and bells and bowls. I have tons of drums and cymbals and small percussion and all that. And I love it all. And I'm pretty much a gearhead myself, sort of a fanatical gearhead, as far as collecting and knowing all this stuff. And I also like to know what other musicians use and what they play. But long ago, an important lesson I learned is it's not the gear, And you can buy the exact same gong or cymbal or drum or whatever instrument that your idol, your hero uses, and you will not sound like them because you are not them. So gear is great, but it's secondary to everything else. But with that thought, I think we all strive to have the best gear that we can have because that allows us to unleash our creativity better. If you're playing on poorly constructed, poorly sounding, poorly working instruments, you are struggling. And in this case, thinking more of like things that are made of pieces, like guitars and basses and brass instruments, saxophones and woodwinds, drums. I mean, if you have really inexpensive, cheap, crappy instruments, it is a struggle to get a sound out of it. And you are spending so much of your time just wrestling with that instrument that your creativity struggles to get out. It can get out, but it just doesn't flow. Whereas if you have quality instruments that become an extension of you, the player, and allow you to just create your music and put it out there without having to think about the instrument, then that's great. So gear is important. I'll never be one to say that it's not. And as you can see behind me, I have high quality gongs. I have high quality mallets. I have high quality drums. I have high quality cymbals and percussion and whatever. Okay. So I'm into that. On another side, I do have some inexpensive stuff because it has a certain sound, especially percussion. Cheap percussion can have kind of a unique sound that you can't get out of expensive percussion. And percussion can be anything. I mean, I go to resale shops and bang around on dishes and pots and pans and pick up things. I go to antique markets and flea markets and all that and look for bells and miscellaneous metal stuff. I go to scrap yards. So percussion is kind of a unique thing compared to everything else because I've got things that I found in bins, in construction bins and dumpsters and that I use for percussion. So it's kind of a unique thing. But anyway, yes, get the best gear you can, but don't obsess over it. And realize that the people you're playing for, the people out in front, they really don't care. They're not going to go, ooh, he's got a sun gong or an earth gong or a moon sonodic gong or something, or a gravity gong, or any of the thousands of gongs that are available now. The only one who's going to take notice of that is going to be someone who also plays. And then they will know, and they go, oh, they've got an XYZ gong. That's pretty cool. I've always wanted to hear one of those, try one of those, or I want one myself. So that's the exception. But most of the people you end up playing for are just people. They don't play gongs. They don't play bowls or bells. And if they do, they might own just a couple of singing bowls, like yoga teachers and that. So they're not geeking out on the gear. They just want to hear your sounds. So I think that's a really important thing to remember is, yes, you can care about your gear all you want. And all your friends who do this too and play gongs and bowls and bells can geek out on your gear too, and you can geek out on their gear. But when it comes down to playing for the general public, they do not care. They do not care what it is. They do not care what the tuning is. I've never had anyone ask me, do you have a 432 hertz gong up there or anything? They do not care about that. They don't care where it's made. They don't care, all those different sort of things. Now, I do a question and answer session if there's time after my sessions. And people will ask questions like, where do you get your gongs? Where are they from? But it's more of a general thing. It's like, I don't know anything about gongs. Where are these from? So I say, well, I have Paiste gongs from Germany. I have Chinese gongs, Japanese gongs, Philippine gongs, all kinds of gongs. So I will answer questions like that. Often they'll ask about, why does one gong look like this? Like, why does this one have all the big bumps in it? And this one is flat. And why is this one dark and this one light? They'll ask questions like that. And I'll answer them and give them a little explanation and maybe play them to, give them the differences. Because if they had their eyes closed, they don't know what's going on. But it's rare, anybody's going to really give you any sort of geeky question about them. General questions, where are your gongs from? Why do they look the way they do? What are they made of? Okay, bronze, nickel, silver, whatever. And, similar questions, just general questions, because people don't know anything about this. So that's a natural human thing to ask. And a lot of times they'll ask, what does that bumpy one sound like? So I'll play it, or what does that bigger one sound like? And which one did you hit, that at the beginning that made this sort of sound? Same thing with the other instruments. What sounded like water or rain or, different sort of things like that. Because they want to know what made the sound, but they're not really geeking out over it. They're just curious. They're like, I heard this sound. I'm laying there, and it's like, I couldn't identify what was making it. So they'll ask general questions like that. And they'll say, oh, that was the wave drum. They give you that ocean sound, thunderstorm sound, however you want to describe it. And they'll take it and they'll play it. And they'll go, oh, wow, that's pretty cool. That's what made the sound. Because they had no idea. So I think that's just really important to keep in mind. Nobody cares about your gear the way you do and the way your fellow sound people do. The general public, they're there. They just want to get the sounds. And a lot of them don't ask questions. Some of them, as soon as you're done, they're rolling up their mat and blanket and they're out of there. And they don't stick around. But they just want the sounds, the vibrations that you can give. So keep that in mind, okay? Especially like when we're on Facebook or other social media and we're hanging out in groups. Like, there's a gong group A and a gong group B and a gong group X, and new gong group, old gong group. There's a lot of gong groups on Facebook. Well, those are all populated by people like us. So it's one thing to geek out over pictures and audio files and videos of everybody's stuff. But you have to realize this is kind of like we're a closed group of people here. We're all into the same thing. It's just like going to a car club. If you're into antique cars or hot rods and rebuilding them and all that, and you have a club, yeah, you're all geeking out over each other's cars. But to other people, it's like, it's just a car. And maybe on the 4th of July, your car group drives in the parade, and people are like, wow, that's pretty cool. Wow, I like that kind of red hot rod sort of thing. And, that's the extent of their interest. Is like they're seeing your cars, and you got flags hanging off of them, and people are waving, so that's it. But when you're part of a club, it's easy to kind of get locked into that idea that, oh, everybody's like this, and everybody's so interested and, really into it. So remember that when you're playing out. Not everybody's as geeky as we are about what we do and what we play on. Okay? Okay, another really important thing is I see a lot of people talking about volume, like the volume of the gongs and everything as we play. And it can get loud, and I know some people who, and you've heard me complain about this before, noise gong players who just play loud and loud and loud. And a lot of people are concerned about the volume. How is it affecting me as the player? How is it affecting the people out front? Now, if you have serious concerns, you should just get a decibel meter app. This is my iPhone, and I have an app called Decibel Meter. So it's very quiet in here, and you can see the ambient level is about 37 or so, which is a normal ambient background. 0 is not the normal setting. So 36, 37 is normal ambient background noise, silence. So you can hear when I'm talking, the meter's going up. And if I talk real loud, there it takes a big jump up to like 89. So like I said, I have an iPhone, but I'm sure there's decibel meter apps for Android and whatever other sort of phone you might have. I think and this was free. This was a free app, so cost is not an obstacle. I think it's important, everybody, to have an app like this. And you can use it in a couple different ways. One way is you can stand up where you're playing, and you can hold it or put it on a table or something like that. I can put it here on my stool. And I can watch it as I'm playing to see what it does. So that went up to about 89 right there. That hit 90 decibels. So it's really important to know, I think, to know how loud you are playing concerning your own ears and hearing, and whether you should be wearing hearing protection if you're playing super loud, and also to know what's going out front. So it's impossible for me to be out here with the meter and to play, but you could have a friend or somebody sit out in front 10 feet, 20 feet, 40 feet, whatever, at various points they can move, and you can be up here and play, and they can record what the settings are. How loud is it? How loud is it? Right out in front, 15 feet away, kind of usually or 10 feet away, where people really, the first row. How loud is it there? And this is an easy way to do it. Free decibel meter app. And then you know what's going on all the time. I have my stand with my phone holder. So I'll hook that up here. And let's lower it a little bit here. There we go. There. Now you can see it. I'll do a little playing here, and we'll be able to see what's happening. And just so we know, I always have a tape measure handy down here. We are 80 inches away, so that's almost 7 feet. Okay, I'll move it up a little more so we have a good 7 feet, just to give you an idea. Let's try that again. 7 feet. Okay, we are almost exactly a little over 7 feet. 7 feet and a couple inches there. Okay, like I said, I'll do some playing, and we will see what the meter is. I won't know until post-production when I look at the video, but let's just do a little playing and see what happens here. Okay, so I started off fairly loudly with the roller mallets, then I went to the big padded mallet, kept it fairly loud, then I went to the marimba mallets, the yarn wound mallets, brought it down some, finally ended up with little chopsticks and that, just to give a range of sounds. So I'll take a look in post and see what happens, but there we go, decibel meter. Everybody should have one on their phone. Check out how loud you are. You might be surprised. You might not be as loud as you think you are, or you might be much louder than you think you are. So go download an app today, some sort of decibel meter. Thanks for watching. We will see you next time on It's Cup of Time.